Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So, today we are going to talk about the attempts to get around Senator Tuberville's block on the promotions. Because there's conversations that are occurring about that, about how to end his hold. And the short version is getting a standing order resolution that would allow the Senate to use a different process, basically. It's a procedural thing. To move promotions through in bulk through the end of 2024. And those are conversations that are being had. Obviously, Senator Tuberville is not real happy about this. He said, "It's typical of this place. This administration would rather burn the Senate down. And that's what would happen." And he goes on, and basically the idea is that the administration would rather cause damage to the Senate than negotiate. I mean, that's funny in its own way, given what this is about. But here's the thing. No, the administration is not going to negotiate over this. That seems incredibly unlikely. If your job is to protect things like recruitment and readiness, you don't negotiate with people who are damaging that as a political tool. This process is supposed to be apolitical. It's not supposed to be partisan. If you allow negotiations because somebody politicizes it, it sets that as a precedent, and that's not something that they would want to do. I don't know who told him that people would want to negotiate if he went after an apolitical organization in an apolitical process. It just sets the tone to allow it in the future. So, I mean, what he's saying here is kind of true. I mean, the administration would certainly not do this. But this administration would rather burn the Senate down. That's weird. That's weird. We'll have to come back to that part. And when it comes to the idea that it is damaging recruitment and readiness and all of that stuff, he says, if I thought this was happening, and by this he means damage to readiness, I wouldn't be doing this. And I've told you all along, and the people that I trust tell me it's not. The problem is that we can't actually trust this statement. It doesn't make any sense. Just like this administration would rather burn the Senate down. Because how this is happening is the Senate changing its rules. I'm pretty sure that Biden can't change the Senate's rules. I'm pretty sure that's not how it works. I'm pretty sure it's not this administration that's doing that. I'm pretty sure it's other senators. I'm also pretty sure that they're not even Democrats. They're Republican senators and one independent, from what I understand. That's where the conversations are happening. Now, don't get me wrong, the Democratic Party would definitely back it. But that's not who's trying to change the rules. It's a handful of Republicans and Sinema. That's where it's coming from. So it's not this administration. It's not the Biden administration. Right? It's other senators. I mean, the Senate changing its own rules, that's just what the Senate can do. I don't know why that's a thing that's damaging to the Senate. It sounds like the Senate is functioning and trying to figure out how to, fulfill its duties when there's one senator that doesn't seem to want to. As far as it damaging readiness, really, this move, what it did was it gave up the Senate's power. And it gave it all to Biden. People are in these roles, and they're in them in an acting capacity. It's not horribly damaging readiness at the moment. It is a little bit. But it is damaging recruitment. It's also damaging retention because these officers, they've had their careers put on hold for a senator to get some headlines. That's not an organization that you'd probably want to stay part of. But see, here's the thing, and this probably has something to do with why there's suddenly Republican senators trying to figure out a way to get around Tuberville. The United States could be on a wartime footing in the next 5 minutes. And the biggest issue when it comes to its organization and being able to field things the way it should, it's not somebody overseas, it's somebody in the Senate. The other senators probably understand that. I wouldn't get too mad at them because they're probably trying to save Tuberville from himself. It is a very tense world right now. And it is not out of the question that the United States move to a wartime footing. That's the reality. If that happens, yes, this hold, it goes from something that is annoying and something that is disruptive to retention and recruitment to a real issue real fast. And as much time as senators like to take off during this period, maybe it's something that should be worked out. It's Sinema and Republicans. It's not the administration. Biden does not have the power to change the Senate's rules. Senators do. As far as it moving forward, I'm guessing that it probably will. There will be some opposition to it, no doubt, but I feel like this is something that will move forward even among the Republican Party. In the Senate, there's probably a few that are still left that actually read their briefings and understand what's going on and understand that it would be a really bad situation if this hold was in place and the United States had to respond to something major. And I think that it only needs 9 Republicans to cross. And I would imagine that that's something that's in the cards. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.